You guys ready for this? Let me show you guys something. Shroud came back to Twitch yesterday. He posted his numbers for his stream. Oh boy. That man made 10K in a day? Nah, bruh. First of all, he's not getting 2.5. He has a better deal than that. If a nice-haired fighting game streamer gets a better deal than 2.5, he's getting better than 2.5. If he hit 30K subs already, yeah, I mean, he probably cleared 100K in the first day. Pretty good, I gotta say. Pretty good for a first day stream back. Slightly better than... I should take a break. I should take a break, chat room. Come back in a few days. All right, guys, firing up. Return stream. What can we get? 5 viewers, 10 subs. Shit is bonkers. You see that, you're like, whew. But the taxes, you gotta pay taxes no matter how much money you make. Yeah, if he makes more than that, he has to pay a higher percentage. But if you make a high enough amount of money to pay a higher amount of taxes, you got money to spare. I drop a fat stack of taxes every time. I show up ready. I empty out my pockets. I'm like, you want how many? 5 digits? All right. Pop it down. If you're a freelancer and you make $30,000 in the year, you pay $10,000 in taxes. So 30 of your money, right? That's just a way to think about that. You know, you can write stuff off and pay less, but that's just a way to think about it. If you make 60,000, you tax 20,000 or something, right? Now, it obviously goes down with a good tax person and, you know, lots of write-offs and being smart about your taxes, but you got to pay your taxes. That's how it works. Yeah, the way it works is if you're not incredibly rich, you have to pay taxes. And if you're incredibly rich, then you don't pay taxes. You know, that's how it works. It's like a scale. Like, it doesn't, you have to pay taxes, you have to pay taxes. Oh, you make this much money? All right, well, ixnay on the axe. Thanks, I hate it. Welcome to life. When you're a freelancer, every bit of money you get, you have to consider that a third of it doesn't exist because it hasn't been taxed yet. So if I make $300, 100 of it, I should just consider it doesn't exist. Now, as a freelancer, you might not actually lose a third, right? Depending on the amount of money you have, depending on how your write-offs are, depending on how you handle your taxes, depending on if you have any untaxed or you have any taxed income alongside of it. That's all important. But you should just consider that because most of the time for me, I pay less than a third, closer to like 20% or something. You can just go look this up. 2019, 20 tax brackets for taxes. Single. Well, shucks. Oh, yeah, correct. Every amount you make over that amount is taxed at that rate. So like the first 9,700 you make is taxed at 10%, and then the next X amount is taxed at 12%, or et cetera, right? I've never looked up the tax percentage for someone who makes $510,000. You figured me out. I don't make $510,000 a year. I'm a little short. But I was explaining to the chat room that as a freelancer, your taxation is steep, right? Because you're not getting taxed on any of the income you make. You want me to do a 2-minute tutorial on taxes? I'll do it. That's not hard. You make money. If you're an employee, you make money that already has taxes taken out from it, so you don't have to pay additional taxes on it at the end of the year. If you're not an employee or a contractor like me, the money at the end of the year goes into my bank account, then I go back to my tax man, I say I earned this amount of money, I have to put this percentage back and give it to the government. The IRS says, give me all your money, and I give it to them. That's how taxes work. Taxes are really easy if you are an employee. In fact, if you're not a freelancer, taxes are the easiest thing ever. I hate when people bitch about taxes and they're not a freelancer. I don't understand. You grab your slip, you walk into the office, and you hand it to them. And then they're like, okay, see you next year. And you're like, nice. And you walk out. That's the end. Let me tell you guys what happens when I have to go pay taxes. When I have to go pay taxes, the day dawns. I wake up. I sit up in bed in cold sweats. I walk over to my computer. I go to my master spreadsheet that has every bit of income I've earned throughout the year. I go to the second master spreadsheet. It has every single bit of income that I'm going to be writing off for the year. And I've been updating these weekly all year long. I pull out the wall scrolls. I have 15 to 20 W-9s or whatever they're called, the independent contractor things. I take this fat stack that I've been waiting months for, and I set up an appointment with my tax man. In fact, I don't set up one appointment. I set up like 3. I go on the first appointment. I give him all the documents. He starts plugging it in. We start plugging and chugging. I'm writing off Ubers, writing off hotels, writing off flights, food and per diems, writing off equipment. Oh, this guy gave me $3 on PayPal. He made it rain. And I had to write that off. I have to go through every little bit to thank these big 10 smackaroos. In fact, that's not 10 smackaroos. That's $6.66. The tax man takes the extra cent. I show up. I give everything. My tax man, he's 96 years old. He's like, what do you do for work again? Video games. All right. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Yes, video games. He types in everything to the tax man. He puts it in there. He handles it. He saves me $20,000 and then I'm out of there. It's a whole dilemma. You don't understand. It takes so long to get my taxes done. It actually takes so long. He's in like his 80s, I think, actually, not 96. Then after all of that, I go through, I I get my form, my scroll that I get from the IRS, and it says, you owe so much money. You owe us a ton of money, and you got to pay up on this date. And my taxman always says the same thing. He says, you could pay right now, or you could make them wait. Don't pay them a day early. Not a cent early. He says, pay them on the day you have to, not a day earlier. He hates the IRS. He's my barrier of defense. He has the arcane seals against the IRS. He hates these motherfuckers. So that's why he works as a taxman. He helps me out. I don't even get to write off an office space. Even last year when I had an extra room for a studio, it didn't meet the qualifications of an office. It has to be like a separate office room in a house that's only used by you. It has to be a certain size. It has to be like, there's qualifications on it specifically to make it an office that you can write off for the house. I thought freelancers paid taxes quarterly. Are you my fucking tax guy? My tax guy wants me to pay taxes quarterly. He's like, if you pay quarterly, you know, you pay a little bit here, you pay a little bit there. It's not a big sum at the end of the year. And I was like, okay, I have a question. If I pay quarterly, do I pay less money to the tax man? And if so, how much? And he was like, no, you like pay the same amount. You just don't have to pay it all at once so it doesn't creep up on you. And I was like, nah, fuck all that. I'll just pay it at the end of the year, one lump sum. That's it. Not a day earlier. I'm very good at budgeting, chat room. I'm very good at budgeting and I'm very good at saving. What do you think my money gets spent on? I have to pay rent, I have to eat, and I need coffee. Where do you think the rest of my money goes? Nothing. That's it. I don't have a lot of expensive needs as a human. I've never bought a car. I've had enough money to buy a car for years. I've never bought a new car. I have a 1999 Ford F-150. Investment is greater than savings. Everybody says that, but every time I'm like, how do I invest? Someone's like, I know a guy. And I'm like, okay, how do you know this guy? And he's like, well, you know, what he does is, I don't know exactly what he does, but he makes people a lot of money. And every time I hear that, I'm like, okay, no. All right, I'm good. Thanks. I work at a CU, and I thought Sajam worked there for like a year. You saw a white guy at a credit union, and you thought it was me, huh? You're like, that looks like Sajam. He's like, hey, ma'am, come on in. Well, look, the main thing about this is, it's a long-term investment. I know you're thinking long-term. Who knows if I'm going to be there long-term? Long-term, you're going to triple your money. Now, look, when you put in this big 5,000 smackaroos, bam, it's going to turn into 10, 15, 20, 25. Your grandkids will be around. They'll be like, I need to go to college in the future with flying cars. And you'll be like, flying cars, psh, here's 6. That's what you think I do? Write this down, write this down. Okay, so you go in, you put in the money, it invests, it comes back. Triple, quadruple, quintuple. So many tuples, I don't even know how many. That's how it works. Then boom, it's all gone. I steal it all, run out the bank. No. Gone. That's what you guys think I do, huh?
Listen.
Nice Fall Guys shirt. Alright, that's pretty good. You got me. I got the Fall Guys community shirt. I'm big on the internet. The Fall Guys, they reached out to me. They're like, you're the #1 Fall Guys community streamer. We just thought we'd reach out to you and hit me with that shirt. And I was like, no problem. I got you. Bam. Swindled me.